Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I just wanted to make a huge shout out to everybody who joined me in that beautiful activation today. It was super powerful. I tripped going up my stairs after, so I had to make a really, really big effort to reground myself. Every activation I've been doing has been more and more powerful as I go, and I think that's just the progression of energy work, right? The more we get into it, the more we ascend as beings, the higher frequencies we can pull through and transmute around. So yeah, it was pretty funny. I stubbed my toe and then I ran upstairs and I tripped. So I laughed at myself. I'm like, okay, Becky, you need to ground. Time to ground. So I did, drank a bunch of water, went and my friend came over and we changed my tires. It was great. Today is just so beautiful. The rain, the new growth of the spring. I just love it. It's so green and so lush. I love the smell of rain. Who else can smell when a storm is coming and loves the smell of rain? It's one of my favorite all-time smells. That smell of the greenery, just the smell of new growth. I love it, love it, love it. Speaking of that, what I spoke about today was allowing. Allowing is super crucial in our everyday life and our energetic life, because what happens is through all the stuff we go through in life, we set up these brick walls around ourselves, these fortresses to protect our heart and our mind and our body. And when we do that, we can't allow, we can't welcome in what's meant for us because we're too busy keeping it all out, too busy discerning, being afraid, and blocking things out. So one thing I'm going to ask you today is just sit with yourself and ask yourself how you can trust a little bit more. Ask yourself how you can allow a little bit more and welcome in what you desire and what you want out of life, because the only one stopping you from what you want is you. And I know that might be a punch in the gut to a lot of people, but you're the only one stopping and standing in your own way. About 4 years ago, I was out with my friends. We were at a bar, like a pub, to go dancing. And this older lady called me from across the bar. It was so packed. I was so drunk. I used to drink a lot because, bury my trauma in alcohol. And this lady called me over, and my friend was super gregarious and I was a little more standoffish because I was very untrusting. And she's like, "Girl, I saw you walk into this space." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, this place is packed." She's like, "I have never seen somebody with so many angels around them." She's like, "Your energy is huge. You are destined for greatness." She's like, "Get out of your own way. You are the only person stopping yourself. You're the only person in your way." And that has stuck with me for these 4.5 years. And this was before I really understood energy and divinity and how powerful we are as creators. I was creating chaos in my life subconsciously because that's how I lived. I lived in a chaotic state my whole life. Normalcy to me was anxiety. Normalcy to me was living with fighting all around me and fighting everything and having to have control over every aspect of my life. And it took me still 3 years to understand that and actually step into my healing. Stop being a victim. It took me 3 years to actually seek out the proper help. Well, I shouldn't say seek. All of a sudden, when I opened up, the right teachers appeared to me. The right guides appeared to me. I went for Reiki with this lady, and she introduced me to this acupuncturist that he is one of my all-time favorite guides that I've worked with through this. He released so much trauma from my body. It was like an exorcism. It was very, very violent, and it was painful, and it was so physical. It was insane. I'm a scientist, by nature. That was my career for years and years, chemical engineering. I worked in oil and gas. So for me to explain what went on while I was laying on that acupuncture table, I couldn't. I was like, what the heck is going on? Am I doing this? And it was just beyond anything that I could explain. It was crazy. Yeah, I've done exorcisms too, and not by choice. They've just happened with me as we vibrate at this high frequency. These lower dimensional beings, these lower dimensional entities, they feel us coming and they scream and they're ready, they want out. So it's pretty cool to go through this. So if you're feeling weird stuff in your body, just know it's releasing. We had a lot of release in the activation today. We had a lot of healing. There was a lot of stubborn energy that was sitting in a lot of people, because that's what happens. We become very, very comfortable with our pain. We become very, very comfortable with our trauma. It's all we know. So to release it is difficult. It's where that allowing comes in, and trust and surrender, because as we hold on tight to it, we're not allowing anything to flow out of us or anything new to flow into us. We're sitting in this place of like contraction. We're meant to expand as physical beings on this earth plane. Our bodies are meant to ever expand, not contract and wither away. So make that intention, especially with this full moon coming. Full moons are all about release. Yes, having faith. Faith is huge. Faith and trust and surrender. And I know it's so cliche and you hear it everywhere, but it is so imperative to trust yourself, trust your higher self, and allow the things to unfold before you, and quit controlling what's going on. One thing that I learned at the beginning of my journey was the how is not up to us. Where I am the girl, I had to plan everything out and make sure everything was figured out. My guide at the time, he told me, my physical guide on this planet, not like one of my guides. He told me, Becky, you set the intention and then you trust, you give it back. You give it back to source. You give it back to God. You give it back to the universe, and you allow it to come to you. You have to align with the divine will. Your will has to be in alignment with divine will for the miracles to happen. And when you see those miracles start happening, you know you're in flow. You know you're allowing. You know you're trusting. And that's the vibration you want to be in. That's the frequency you want to sit in, because that's when life is taking you down the river where you are supposed to be, not where you want to be and where you think you want to be, because our thinking minds don't always know what's best for us. 99% of the time they don't. Where our higher self and our soul and our intuition knows what's best for us. Another thing I spoke about in the group today too was quieting our minds enough to allow those intuitive pinches to come through. About 1.5 years ago, I decided to start living my life purely by intuition. What feels right, I go with, whether it seems logical at the time or not. If it doesn't feel right, I send it away with love. I don't become afraid of it. I don't, dismiss it harshly. I just send it away with love, and I'm like, this is not meant for me. So little things like speaking to somebody on the street, little things like some random person add you on Facebook, or you see somebody and you're like, I want to be friends with that person. Go with those things. Those pinches where you get in your car and you're like, I just feel like I need to go here today. Go with that. That's alignment. That's flowing with divinity, and it's beautiful. It's where the gifts happen, and that's when you'll see all the synchronicities start to fall into place in your life. Yeah, I talk a lot. I love it. So I'm gonna pull a card. I wasn't gonna come on today because I was like super, I don't want to say tired after, but it took a lot. Sometimes these channeling these high energies it's a lot of work. Like I get sweaty and I'm like, oh, I'm a little shaky after, and I'm like, I have to ground these energies into the earth plane, because I teach people that you can't be flying around in these higher dimensional realms. You can't be astral projecting out of your body. You can't be playing in 30th dimension and not grounding it into your physical body, because you're no good for yourself. You're doing no good for anybody else. You're not in your body. Those days where you feel like you're walking around and you're hungover, you're disconnected, that's your soul actually not in your body. You're astral projecting out of yourself. You need to pull yourself back in with breath work, with grounding, just with even touching your body, like rubbing your legs is very grounding. When you feel like you're out of your body, that's how we anchor in more light to this earth plane. And yes, grounding is so imperative. And so many of us forget to ground. Even some days I'm like, I notice when I feel ungrounded and I'm like, ooh, I need to ground. I need to really ground today with these energies that are happening right now. The full moon coming up, ground. Well, you should always ground. Spirit, what do we need to see today? I assert myself. It's really bright in here. It says, I do not leave power over me in the hands of others. I will no longer be a victim. I have become the supreme being once more. I express myself freely, always listening to my real needs. I do not hold anything back inside, and I no longer fear the reactions of other people. Thus, I regain the essence of my light. And that is so important. Not being afraid to speak your truth, not being afraid to own your feelings and needs is being important. A lot of us, we become martyrs in our day-to-day life. We create codependent relationships around us because that's what we've grown up with. That's what made us feel good at the time. It's not healthy. It's not serving you. And it's not about being selfish, but it's about understanding that you can't fill anybody else's cup if your cup is not full. And it's not your duty to fill anybody else's cup. It's your duty to guide others, if they ask for it, how to fill their own cup. And that is my message for today. It's different if you're a parent, we do need to help fill our children's cups, but we want to make sure that we're not doing it in a way that becomes codependent and they don't know how to take care of themselves, and they don't know how to feel their own emotions, and they don't know how to process their own emotions. And emotions are messy and painful. And that's why it's so important to teach kids at a young age to process them. I was never taught that. I was taught to bury everything. I wasn't allowed to feel. I was afraid to feel because I was afraid other people seeing me emotional was too much. And you know what? I stored those emotions in my physical body. I stored them in my nervous system. And I was wound so tight for so many years. I actually don't know how I didn't break. Well, I did break a few times. I almost had a nervous breakdown at one point, a couple points, because you get to a point where you don't know what's reality and what's not, because you don't know how to feel yourself in your body. But yes, that is my message. I think I've had about 6 messages in here today. Love you. Everybody go outside and ground. I'm going to go outside and breathe in some lovely rainy air in Calgary here today because it's so pretty. And I love you. Have an amazing Sunday.